What is going on, everybody? It's the Franz, and we're here for our Monday Night Raw review for May 31st, 2021. This is we're on our way to Hell in a Cell, but this week for WWE has been dubbed Tag Team Week because Raw, SmackDown, and NXT are all having tag team championship matches in the same week. WWE and Peacock on the Peacock Network, on the WWE Network and Peacock, are going to be putting up the 50 best tag teams in WWE history. And I'm just going to stop right there and be like, with all the crap you have piled on the tag team division, let alone breaking up a tag team tonight, just tells me, like, why should I care about tag team wrestling in WWE? Vince McMahon has spent the last 10 plus years shitting all over the tag team division. Shitting all over fans who love tag team wrestling. FTR wanted to leave WWE because they wanted to be they wanted a respectful tag team division. They could not stand the disrespect WWE continued to give to their tag team division. And now we're supposed to believe that WWE actually gives a fuck about the tag team division? Please. But that is neither here nor there. So, we had Monday Night Raw. The Miz, the Clown Miz is back, so there's that. We also had a new commentary member, Jimmy Smith, who, I guess, he was in NXT for a bit, doing some stuff on NXT, being groomed to be in commentary by Michael Cole. He was much better than Adnan, I will tell you that right now. And you could tell that he was, like, if you're getting sent down to NXT, if you're working with Michael Cole and other commentators to be groomed to be the big guy behind the chair, being the head commentator on Monday Night Raw, he's been set up to succeed more than Adnan Virk ever was. Adnan Virk was put on Monday Night Raw, and Adnan Virk was he was handicapped. He was set up to fail from moment one. Had they hired Adnan Virk back in January, had him go down to NXT in the Performance Center, work on commentary and everything else, he probably would have did a much better job than he did. And that, the entire, we mutually parted ways with him was all bullshit. WWE knew they were getting rid of Adnan Virk before last Monday Night on Raw. The mutual parting of ways was a bunch of bullshit lies. They did not care about Adnan Virk. They were going to have this guy go out there and fail and just be happy with what they had. So we start the show with Miz TV, his first appearance since the Zombie Lumberjack match at WrestleMania Backlash. He apologizes for the match and says, that match, he shakes his head, he was injured for the first time in his illustrious career. He goes on to previous report about the ACL tear and shows, and John Morrison is wearing, I believe, garlic. John Morrison has a drip stick, which is a pool water toy. Miz says while gone, he had an epiphany, and that is that he had to get back tomorrow because, and I really didn't care. Turned off the volume. Out came Charlotte, out came Rhea. They had their little squabble. Out came Nikki Cross, turned the volume up a little bit more. She mentioned how she was the first. She beat Rhea Ripley last week in a 2-minute beat the clock. So, doesn't it seem fair? Doesn't it seem fair that I get the first title match for the Raw Women's Championship? Of course, the Charbot says you're a little peasant. You don't deserve anything. So Nikki's like, if I beat you in 2 minutes, do you think would it be all right for me to challenge the winner of your match at Hell in a Cell? So Charbot gets up, laughs about it. Nikki Cross smacks her across the face, and then the Charbot says, "You're on your little troll," and we have our 2-minute match. This is the match that you got between Charlotte and Nikki Cross. The bell rings. Nikki runs out of the ring, runs around for about a minute. Then for the next 40 seconds, she's outside arguing, and Charlotte's arguing and complaining, bitching and moaning with Rhea Ripley. Then she gets back in, and she starts trying to win, trying to do stuff. And then, of course, she nails, Cross hits a tornado DT, Flair drops Cross and goes for a figure 4. Cross keeps resisting, the clock expires, and Cross wins in another 2-minute match. Oh my god, this is fucking dumb. This is your Raw Women's title feud. Shame on WWE. Raw Women's title feud that I can't even with this company. I just can't even. You have Rhea Ripley, who's, we all, like, Asuka had a very pitiful title reign just because of how bad they booked her. Rhea Ripley's not doing any better. WWE is booking her to look like shit. They're also now making the Showbot look like shit, so I don't even think Vince McMahon really cares about the Raw Women's Championship right now. Because this was all just crap. Nikki Cross, of course, celebrates. Rhea's all smiles at ringside as she applauds Cross. Flair sees and blames her. She goes over the side with Rhea's at and is like, "This is your fault. This is your fault. I should have won, but this is your fault." Just typical Showbot can't take responsibility for her own actions. We see what happened with the recent stuff between RK Bro and the New Day. Of course, Kofi Kingston is taking on Drew McIntyre later in the show, so there's just no possible way this guy is going, like, they're going to have the New Day versus RK Bro yet. But they've got to give us that match very, very soon. So Riddle's talking with Damian Priest backstage. They talk about the upcoming return to touring. Riddle is learning some Spanish. Randy Orton shows up and says, Riddle, he missed him so much. Priest walks off. Orton brings up how Orton used the OK last week. Apologizes he isn't sure what came over him. He just hit it out of nowhere. Orton says, they had a hell of a match. And he impressed me. You impressed me. But there are a few things to work on. It says if they're going to do this tag team thing, they have to do it right. Then invites Riddle to ringside to watch the match. Riddle starts marking out, but Orton just does the whole shh. Riddle does the whole lock and key, gives him a fake key. Orton pretends to throw a key away, which looks fucking stupid. And Orton walks off while Matt Riddle looks for the goddamn key. Good grief. So, we get Randy Orton versus Xavier Woods. Now, we know how Randy Orton is. On paper, Randy Orton could be one of the best damn workers in the business, if he cares. If Randy Orton's doing a match that he does not give a shit about, you know he's going to go out there and do nothing. He's gonna bide his time, he's going to do rest holds, he's going to make the match boring as shit. First off, the reason Matt Riddle's even in the position he is working with Randy Orton is obviously Randy Orton. Vince McMahon's not going to walk up to Randy Orton and be like, I'm teaming you with Matt Riddle. No. There ain't no fucking way Randy Orton is in this position that he's in right now, especially after the whole Fiend fiasco, if it wasn't Randy Orton's idea, or Randy Orton didn't have something to do with it. Who knows? Maybe Matt Riddle becomes a more elevated person after all this is over with. We don't know. So, kudos to the Mighty Morphin Power Ranger gear for Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston. They were both versions of Tommy Oliver's white and green Ranger from MMPR. So that was pretty cool. I didn't notice it at first, but then I saw it on social media because it was really hard to tell on Woods, but Kofi had the Dino Buckler. He had the whole shield and everything. Woods, it's really hard to tell what that looks like until you look at the waistline and his buckle, because what the White Ranger had as a buckle. But yeah, really cool. Their 90s pop culture stuff is just on point, man. On fucking point. This was again another really good match. Again, it wasn't as good as last week because that one lasted about 20. I swear that match went almost 30 minutes. This match went maybe 5, maybe 10, 15, if that. But Orton with a cheap shot where the referee can't see. Orton brings Woods up to the corner for a big powerbomb in the middle of the ring. Woods kicks out just in time, and Orton isn't happy. Orton sends Woods to the apron as Riddle runs his mouth at ringside. Orton goes for a second rope DDT and telling Riddle to watch. Woods counters and drops Orton by his arm with on the knees. Fujiwara armbar now. Orton crawls over and gets to the bottom rope. Riddle is relieved. Orton goes for the draping DDT and hits it. Orton drops down to the mat. Pounds. Woods goes up and blocks it RKO with a backslide for a 2. Woods kicks Orton in the face. Orton catches Woods into the Bro Derrick, which Riddle is losing his fucking mind. The fact that Randy Orton has him in the Bro Derrick. Then drops Woods with the middle of the ring for the 1, 2, 3. So, Matt Riddle won last week with Randy Orton's move. This week, Randy Orton wins with Matt Riddle's move. After the match, Matt Riddle gets in the ring. He's so fucking excited. He's happy that he used his move. Oh my god, this guy's awesome and all that shit. Then Riddle gets down, does his pose. Randy's behind him, and usually he just walks away. This time, he slowly moves his arms a little bit, drops him back down, taps him on the shoulder, and walks away. So, say okay bro lasts till SummerSlam. Say it lasts till SummerSlam. That pose is not happening until July 13th. Or July 20, whatever it is. The weekend of Money in the Bank. I think it's July, yeah, I think it's like, 16th, 18th, and 19th of the month when they're coming back. Yeah. If it's the 19th, that's when you do that pose. That's when Randy Orton does the pose for the first time. Can they make it through all of June and a part of July without having Randy Orton doing the pose? That's going to happen in front of a live crowd. That's got to happen in front of fans, in front of everybody. That'll be just what you need to see. So, yeah. Randy Orton, like Xavier Woods. If you're somebody who tweets on Twitter and stuff, you gotta appreciate. This dude. Because he is by far one of the best, most underrated guys I have ever seen in the wrestling ring. They gotta give this guy a title run. Get him to win the U.S. title. Plain and simple. So, let's see here. Okay, then we get a video package of what happened last week between Reginald and Shayna Baszler. So yeah, this match is happening. Back from break first, the MVP is in the leading group of models into the locker room suite. WWE Champion Bobby Lashley walks in next, and MVP introduces them. The women all into the champ. We go back to the ring, and Baszler paces around as the music plays. Reginald is backstage with Nia Jax. He tells her he does not need her protection tonight. He can handle Shayna by himself. She protests, but he dismisses her help, kissing her hand and telling her to watch the match from backstage. He heads to the ring. The bell rings. He pleads with Baszler to start. He flips back to dodge a kick, then he dodges an attack. Reginald leaps up again and off, but Baszler leaves him with a shoulder. Levels him with the shoulder. I'm sorry. He dodges again and rolls Baszler up for 2. I don't even want to talk about this match. I really don't. Reginald stumbles in the corner, but she drags him and applies an ankle lock submission. Reginald sends her into the turnbuckle by countering. Reginald ends up hitting a spinning crossbody, which the announcers mentioned that he tried to probably avoid her with that, but she didn't duck. Baszler is down and hurt now. Reginald struggles to hop up the turnbuckle, but his moonsault. He did a beautiful looking moonsault, but lands on his feet. Falls down because of his gets down to one knee because of his bad knee. Baszler stalks him. She gets the kill through the clutch on. She backs into a corner when out of nowhere, kaboom! Pyro goes off. She's spooked. Reginald takes advantage. Rolls Shayna up. 1, 2, 3. Reginald beat Shayna Baszler. That's right. Let's say that again. Reginald beat Shayna Baszler. Are you fucking kidding me? Again. This woman deserves better. She deserves, like, honestly, Shayna Baszler, when they lost the tag team titles, I believe, wasn't it Nia Jax who got pinned in that match when they lost the tag team titles? That should have been it. That should have been it from them. And moved on. Shayna Baszler should have came out the next Monday Night Raw because they lost them on a Friday and beat the hell out of the Raw Women's Champion and every challenger and be like, this is my time. I'm going to be the next WWE Raw Women, next Raw Women's Champion. And I don't care who I have to go through. But, it is what it is. That's what they do. That's what they always do. And Shayna Baszler, who months ago, or years ago, when she was in NXT, 2 years ago, or 3 years ago, I think it is now, when people were chanting Shayna's Raw's shadow to her, I thought they disrespected her because she was way better and is a much better class of professional wrestler than Ronda Rousey was ever going to be. But, nowadays it's like, yep, WWE wouldn't treat Ronda Rousey like this. WWE would not treat Ronda Rousey like this, but they treat Shayna Baszler like this, and it sucks. After the match, he makes his exit up, runs back, Baszler is seething. He joins Jax backstage. She is so happy, celebrating. Baszler is shown on the screen, asking what the hell is Jax doing. Was this explosion another trick by Alexa Bliss and Lily? We'll talk about that in a bit. Kevin Patrick is backstage with Drew McIntyre, and Drew says tonight is all about he and Kofi Kingston. No MVP, no Bobby Lashley, none of that outside independence bullshit. He also gives some praise. Drew goes on with his promo and says that he likes Kofi and respects him, but tonight he's going to do what Kofi's not willing to do and run through him, then get back his WWE title. He announces hype up the match. He also brought up the fact that he slayed the Beast, where Kofi never did. Mason T-Bar took on the Lucha House Party. Mason T-Bar, Dominic Dijakovic, of course, and I don't even know the other guy's name, but so here's the thing. What's in a name? Yes, the name should be a big deal. The name should be something that actually people want to cheer or boo. But like Mason T-Bar, not the best. But here's the thing. If you turn if you take these two guys and just go after all these tag teams and they brutalize them, you have Lucha House Party, a perfect team for them to kill this week. Find two scrubs at the Capitol Wrestling Center, at the Performance Center, to come up and get killed every single week to Mason T-Bar. You're going back on the road. Find local jobbers to bring into WWE. Pay them $500 to get killed by Mason T-Bar. Make Mason T-Bar a monster tag team like you did the Bludgeon Brothers 2-3 years ago. And just have them run roughshod all over the WWE, eventually taking the tag team titles from whoever the tag team champions are 7 months from now or so, and make them a strong, formidable team. Will WWE actually do that? Probably not. They'll probably go up against like the Viking Raiders, and the Viking Raiders will beat them no problem. But Mason T-Bar, both of them have potential, especially Dominic Dijakovic. They have potential, and if you want to keep them as a tag team, that's fine. WWE's tag team division needs tag teams, and who knows if you're going to do that? What's going to actually happen with this team? But you got to do something with these guys. If you're going to keep them up, have them go out and kill teams like the Lucha House Party, which they did tonight. So let's say Toronto. Well, you got, like, WWE's been doing this thing, advertising for NXT, so we got one of those tonight for that triple threat match tomorrow. Who really cares? I don't. NXT is not the NXT I used to know and love. It's a shell of its former self, and I really don't care. So, Manalik attacks T-Boy, levels him with a big boot. T-Boy and Mason deliver a high justice double team finish. Mace pins Metalik for the big 1, 2, 3. So, yeah, works for me. And they stand tall, music hits, they go to replay. Alexa Bliss is backstage. She invites everyone to the Alexa Playground later on, and she also invites Reginald to come have a chat after basically saying that she was the reason why Shayna lost. We see Sheamus backstage. Sheamus comes to the ring. He brags about his latest wins in the crowd as the fake crowd boos. God, I can't wait to get out of the Blunderdome Dome. You want to know something? Tonight at 7 on YouTube, you had AEW's Dark Elevation. Dark Elevation is taped before AEW's Wednesday or Friday night show, because this week it was Friday. And my goodness, the difference between watching, because that show went till about 8:30, and listening to actual fans cheer, boo, sing along the Jungle Boy's theme, just having a good old time, and then you switch on Monday Night Raw, and you see nothing but TV screens. You hear baked what is it called? Piped in crowd noise. Sheamus is cutting a promo. You hear boos, like the fakest boos you've ever heard. You have like Drew McIntyre and Kofi Kingston. You have dueling chants that sound fucking atrocious. It's so fucking bad, and we have to wait another goddamn month and a half until they're gone back on the road. You really could not just find a date for July 7th, could you? July 9th, like 5th. Like, they could have came back on July 2nd and just got out there first. But they're coming back on, I believe, the 16th, which is Money to Make weekend, right? Yeah. He talks about Ricochet and Dumbarton trying to embarrass him and says maybe they should receive participation trophies because that's the closest they will get to the gold. He shows us what happened between them after he defeated Humberto Carrillo last week, and then Ricochet and Carrillo beat the shit out of him, leaving him laying. He was about to deliver Carrillo to defeat Singh, and then double teamed them both. He asked if they two looked like champion material. The fake crowd continues to cheer for him. Sheamus says, "We're here. Here he comes from. Where he comes from, they'd be scumbags. Two people jumping one." Sheamus goes on and says he created an open challenge so he could find someone worthy of a title shot. Ricochet and Carrillo just proved they are not fit to lace his boots. He's not going to face them 2-on-1, but face them 1-on-1, back-to-back, because that's the type of champion he is. And he's done. He will send them back to where they came from, catering obscurity. Sheamus asks once which one will be the first to step up tonight. And out comes Ricochet. So, we have the match here with Ricochet, and it doesn't go very long. Ricochet, they were having a pretty decent match here. Ricochet, of course, is good at anything he can do. I do like the fact that Ricochet is getting some TV time. I mean, I know him and Mustafa Ali have been trying to get people to watch Main Event because that's where all their matches have been. I just don't care. I don't think anybody actually cares about Main Event. Nobody has cared. I mean, I will be honest. When Main Event first aired on the WWE Network, it was live. Until, like, from the time the WWE Network started until it got released in the UK, those episodes from that time, which was like a couple months, they were live. So, well, it's an hour. It's allowed. It was taped before SmackDown, of course, because SmackDown was still being taped at the time. I was like, hey, a live 1 hour wrestling show. The wrestling wasn't too terrible. And then, of course, they went live in the UK. They released the WWE Network in the UK, and Main Event appears on UK television somewhere in one of those things, so they couldn't do live on the WWE Network anymore, even though WWE doesn't know how to geolock. But anyway, that was the only time I've actually spent time to watch Main Event outside of its first initial run on TV, which I believe was... what was it? It wasn't Ion. That was Superstars. But yeah, Main Event has been. I remember Main Event back when it was like you had the Undertaker versus Matt Hardy. Like that was back when WWE actually seemed to care for a minute. And yeah. it just, oh, it was Ion. Okay, it was on Ion, then it went to Hulu, WWE.com, Network, and Peacock. Yeah. I thought Superstar was the one-on-one. Oh, that was WGN, never mind. But yeah, I remember it was like, and the reason that it didn't last on the Ion is because Ion was sold, sold what you get on, like, what Dark Elevation is. Or Dark Elevation is, where you're going to get matches taped. You're going to have big stars come over, like the big names like The Undertaker. That's why you had Undertaker face Matt Hardy in like one of the first shows that they had, CM Punk as well. But after about 6 months or so, WWE stopped having the big names like a John Cena or Batista or Undertaker or CM Punk at the time show up. And it was the mid-carders or the guys who can't find time on Raw or SmackDown to wrestle matches on the show to give them something to do. So they're like, hey, instead of sitting at home, we're going to pay you to work a match that nobody's going to care about. So I was like, fuck this shit. You sold us a product that you ain't, and it's not keeping up to standards as we thought. And honestly, outside of that early period on the WWE Network, nobody has cared about main events since. Before that and since. So Sheamus is facing Ricochet. It doesn't go very long because out of nowhere we hear Humberto Carrillo's music hit. He runs down. Ricochet takes advantage. Sheamus is distracted. 1, 2, 3. Sheamus got pinned because of a distraction. Man, it must be nice being a champion in WWE. You want to know how many times somebody in All Elite Wrestling as a champion was pinned in a non-title match? Jericho. Because they set up a storyline for him and Scorpio Sky. And I think that's really it. You don't see Kenny Omega taking pinfalls. You don't see Darby Allin when he was champion taking pinfalls. You didn't see Hikaru Shida when she was women's champion in singles matches. I think she take no, that was Thunder Rosa. You never took Saul Shida taking a non-title loss. You don't see the Young Bucks losing a tag team match in a non-title match. But here on Monday Night Raw, Sheamus loses because of the distraction of music. But wait, there's more. As Humberto Carrillo has a match against Sheamus. And oh boy, there was a shot. Humberto Carrillo does a nice big kick right to the face of Sheamus. Right to the nose. Big, huge roundhouse kick. Busts this guy wide open. He's bleeding everywhere. They go to the outside where Ricochet gets kicked in the head by Sheamus. He gets knocked down, and you just see blood everywhere. This guy has to have a broken nose. If his nose is not broken, wow, I would be absolutely shocked. Ricochet tries to come in, but Sheamus stops him at the ropes. Carrillo takes advantage with the drop kick and rolls him up for the pin in the win. Yes, my friends, he got beat not once, but twice. Sheamus got beat twice. Holy hell, is that bad. Holy wow, I just cannot even with this company. What are you doing? Seriously, what are you doing with this shit? How is Humberto Carrillo and Ricochet beating these two every time they turn around? I just don't like. Humberto Carrillo and Ricochet should not be beating this guy. But they are. I don't know why, but they are. We get into the Eva Marie thing, don't really care. And then we go to Lana and Naomi versus Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke. And what the fuck were Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke wearing? They literally look like, I've never been in the Playboy Mansion, but they literally look like two Playboy bunnies who took their tail, their little rabbit tail and the bunny ears off and came to work. Because, yeah, sex sells, I know this. And it's like, people, if anybody ever says sex doesn't sell anymore, yes it does. You had Naomi and Lana versus the sexually dressed Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose. And I guarantee nobody was paying. I wasn't paying attention to this match because I really didn't care about this match. But I guarantee a lot of people were not paying attention to this match just because of what those two were wearing. They were busy fondling like, fondling with their eyes over Dana Brooke and Mandy Rose's attire. Holy fuck. That was very interesting, do I say the least. Brooke and Mandy Rose win. Of course, we had to have Tamina and Natalya on commentary for the entire match. Yay! It took Tamina 10 years to get a championship. Maybe there's a reason for that. You sure as hell was never going to win a singles championship. This is the closest championship you will ever win, because nobody can, you're not a very talented woman. You're only in this position because of your last name. Just saying. We see what happened between Shelton and Cedric, and for the millionth time, Shelton Benjamin takes on Cedric Alexander. Why? Why am I getting rematch Monday again? It's the last two matches at least. We've had rematch Monday. Sheamus Humberto Carrillo, Sheamus and Ricochet, rematch Monday. Mason T-Bar Lucha House Party really wasn't a rematch, I'd say, but what in the fuck? This is what we get. Poke to the eye. What was it? Thumb to the eye. Hits him with a neuralizer. 1, 2, 3. Should I care? Why should I care about this? They wrestled each other on 3 of the last 4 weeks. And Cedric gets a win because of a thumb to the eye. How the referee didn't see that is beyond me. Well, there you go. We go backstage and see Jackson Ryker just staring off into space. Elias is hyping him up for the night title shot. He just stares in the intense look. Elias goes on about how they're going into battle night. He asks if she's ever been in the battle. He finally turns around and says, "Have you ever been in battle? I served in the Iraq War." So we go to the match. Elias and Jackson Ryker versus AJ Styles and Omos. This is gonna be what AJ Styles and Omos are mostly going to do in their wrestling matches for these tag team titles, or when they team completely. AJ takes brunt of the attack. Omos comes in, he kills, and they win. That's what happened here. Early on, Elias and Jackson Ryker, beating up on AJ Styles and doing it and just dominating this. Now, we get to the spot that's the hot tag, the babyface, which of course is, in this instance, doing Omos and, Omos and AJ Styles are playing babyface for this match. They go to tag in, of course, Ryker goes to tag in Elias. Elias jumps away. He backs away. Omos tags in. He beats the hell out of Jackson Ryker, which, if you looked on social media, anybody who's a left-wing lunatic, you find anybody who found joy, a little extra joy in Jackson Ryker, because people don't like you having your own opinion, a mind of your own. Jackson Ryker has a mind of his own. He's a free thinker, and that angers those who have to deal with it. So, yeah, that angers the fact that this guy had a mind of his own, put out some tweets. Yes, Kevin Owens and them, they got pissed about it and everything. The guy had a mind of his own. He tried to put over a shitty fucking promo, a catchphrase that didn't go well. And it's kind of funny because of the Forgotten Sons, Jackson Ryker, as of now, unless we find out in the next 24 to 48 hours that he gets released and this was his last day, which guaranteed the left-wing lunatics will continue to cheer. This is the best they're gonna get. People were so happy that this guy was getting beat down and destroyed by Omos. Phenomenal forearm. 1, 2, 3. AJ Styles and Omos continue to win and keep the tag team titles. Elias looks on from the stage and honestly says, "I told you so." We come back from break. Reginald's backstage limping when Nia Jax approaches him. She asks if he's sure he wants to accept an invitation to Alexa Bliss's playground because she's weird. coming from somebody who was supposedly besties with Alexa Bliss back before they had that feud that ended up with her winning the Raw Women's Championship. What was it, at WrestleMania? Yeah. He says, I'll be okay, I don't need your help, and all that stuff. Back from break, we see Kevin Patrick stop Elias, asking why he turned on him. He says, Ryko has become unhinged. He walked with Elias at first. He wanted me to help mold him into something special, but last week when Elias was in danger, Ryko ran away, and his priorities are out of whack. Patrick points out that Ryko beat AJ Styles last week, and Elias says, because of me. Because of me. Well, it kind of was. Elias gives Ryko some praise as an athlete, but says he's too unpredictable, and that's a danger to him. We're going back on the road, and the idea of sitting in a car while traveling with Ryko makes me sick, and I don't want to be around him anymore. And he walks off. No Ryko attacking him from behind, no Ryko coming in and trying to confront him. So, it would not... I would not surprise me if they ended up firing. If he ends up getting fired, I guarantee you people are gonna cheer on social media. You'll know anybody who is a left-wing lunatic. Anybody who's a left-wing lunatic who believes in all this bullshit that the mainstream media and stuff are trying to peddle into reality, are going to be the ones who celebrate this guy if he gets fired. Maybe he does, maybe he doesn't. I don't know. We go to Alexa's Playground. It didn't last very long until Shayna Baszler came in. She said she beats up Reginald, throws him out, looks over at her and says, "You're becoming a problem. So me and you are going to need to have a chat. So I'm going to see you next week." Gets down on one knee, looks at Lily and says, "You're just a stupid doll," and walks off. So, that's next week. The Viking Raiders are trying to hype up Mansoor about what he needs to do to get into, as they're going back on tour, which Mansoor was doing an interview with somebody and said that WWE wants him to put on muscle mass, and they want to change his gimmick a little bit, and I'm like, so WWE wants to take somebody and change the way they look because they want them to be in the image that Vince McMahon loves. They want to see that beef, those pecs, those abs, those 24-inch pythons, brother. I want to be able to feel him like he's a statue. God, trying to do a Vince McMahon voice fucking sucks. But yeah, they want to change Mansoor into a spitting image of what Vince McMahon thinks is the perfect guy. Lee comes up after the Viking Raiders leave and says, "Be careful who you make friends with around here because everyone will stab you in the back. Trust me, I know. Don't trust anybody." And he's like, "So why should I trust you?" By the way, he was dressed like he's going for a business interview in any big business, like he's going to a power broker meeting or something. He looked clean tonight. He looked clean. He taps him on the shoulder and says, "Haha, now you're getting it." Patrick enters the locker room MVP. They want to know. He wants to know what they think about who, if they have a preference to the matchup for Hell in a Cell. They don't care. They just want to. They wish they could be up front, but being back here partying is much better than being suspended for 90 days without pay. Which makes me wonder what would happen if he was suspended for 90 days with the WWE Championship at Hell in a Cell. Adam Pearce could have said, "You'll be suspended for 90 days, stripped of the WWE title, and we'll have Kofi Kingston and Drew McIntyre will face off for the vacant WWE Championship." Just add a little bit more incentive. We go back to the tonight's main event is out first with Kofi Kingston wearing his Green Ranger gear. Look fucking awesome, by the way. So, you have this match, and it ended just as you thought it was going to. It ended just as you thought it was going to. Who'd you think was going to go to Hell in a Cell? Did you really think that WWE was going to give Kofi Kingston his time to shine and get another championship opportunity? Because, yeah, Kofi hasn't gotten a rematch. Drew McIntyre has had, 2 rematches since he lost the WWE Championship? 2. He's already had 2 rematches. Kofi has not in 2.5 years. So, why not give him a rematch for the WWE Championship so you can just nip it in the butt and get it done? No, of course they're not going to do that. Drew McIntyre has to win. He has to win with a big Claymore out of nowhere. Makes the pin, win, and that is that. Match was good. Nothing else I can say about that. His music hits. He recovers and stands tall. We get to come back to Kofi and offering a handshake of respect. They shake hands. Out comes MVP and champion Lashley to pose. Drew poses in the ring and yells up the stage at MVP and Lashley. Look on, smiling back at him. McIntyre vs. Lashley's event is now going to be at Hell in a Cell as Raw goes off the air. So again, we have Hell in a Cell. 3 pay-per-views in a row. 3 pay-per-views in a row. Bobby Lashley versus Drew McIntyre. Could we not wait till Money in the Bank? Could we not wait till SummerSlam? Here's the thing. If Drew McIntyre does not beat Bobby Lashley at Hell in a Cell, if he somehow keeps the title at Hell in a Cell, that's it. No more. Move on. Drew McIntyre is fucking done. But we'll have to wait and see. You know what's interesting? Not a single appearance, as I can remember, of Adam Pearce or Sonya Deville tonight. Come to think of that, I don't think they were on SmackDown either. Weird. Just crazy. Now, Jimmy Smith did good. I think he was actually... He felt like he matched. He felt like he fit in. He felt like he was just on par with Byron Saxton and Corey Graves. With Adnan, Byron Saxton and Corey Graves had to work over fucking time, over themselves. They had to work double to make up for his deficiencies. Jimmy Smith ain't like that. Jimmy Smith actually did a hell of a job. He called the right moves. He wasn't forgetting anything. He didn't say much. He didn't say much stupid shit. He has combat calling experience for combat sports like MMA. So yeah, there you go. So yeah, I'm good. It's good to hear it. I wish they would have kept Tom Phillips and said we're just gonna put Tom Phillips back. Tom Phillips is only 31, maybe 32 years old. That looks nasty. My goodness. Someone posted a picture of Sheamus has a selfie of himself with his nose all bloody and stuff, and that looks nasty. Dude, that sucks. But yeah, Jimmy Smith, definitely I wouldn't say a breath of fresh air. And there's nobody better than a Mauro Ranallo or a Jim Ross back in the 90s and in the 2000s. But he's definitely a major step up. I'd say if you have a 10 rung ladder, Adnan Virk was on rung 1. Jimmy Smith is probably on rung 5, 6, 7, or 8, give or take. Because it did get it sounded like he was losing his voice in the main event. So maybe he needs to dial it back just a little bit. But yeah, I will take Jimmy Smith over Adnan Virk any fucking day. Hate this show, hate this fucking show. I wish it would get better, but we all know it won't. But that is your Monday Night Raw review. Hit that subscribe button, comment down below, like or dislike this video. Find me on Minds of the Frowns Club. Find me on Twitch.tv/The Frowns Club, and find me on Instagram, The Frowns Club. And I will see you guys on Friday for another doubleheader. Only a SmackDown and AEW review. There is no pay-per-view this week. So there's that. But until then, my name is The Frowns, and I will see you guys later.